Happy Friday. This might help. That might help a lot. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, bringing you your things you might have heard for this Friday. It's happens to be the 24th of March, 2023. I am glad to be with you to fill out this final day of the week, giving you 8 news stories that were vetted by you overnight or over the last 30 hours, you said, and then curated for the best story here. Now, we had a whirlwind of a week and a kind of a interesting day showing up to some new toys to play with. So you'll see some things if you're watching the video version of this thing that will be new to you. You can let us know how they work or how they look to you, how they work for you. And if you're just listening to audio, I will say nothing, so there's no real change in the formatting. Other than that, it's Friday. So I have 8 stories for you that you vetted over the last 30 hours. I already said that part. And I pulled from the top 15 to make them around 8. If you like the stories, let us know. And if you don't like the stories, let us know so I can make sure I'm picking the right ones. In fact, you have to let us know what stories to pick. So we'll go over how the feeds work in just a bit after the news stuff. About 12, 13 minutes, we'll get through all the headlines, and then we'll show you how the feeds go. And then, yes, we're still in our pledge driving for March. So we'll still do the sort of puppy eyes and begging going forward. But we have fun stuff to come, as always. So hopefully you will enjoy. And if you're watching the video, you'll enjoy the new look. So at this point, let's make this thing happen. Move on to, life as your news side piece and get on to the actual news of the day. Starting with this story right here. GloriFi, an anti-woke bank backed by Peter Thiel and Candace Owens, is folding just 3 months after it was set up. Now, this should be a story bigger on GloriFi, which is, of course, a bank that was supposed to be anti-woke, an alternative to the Wall Street type banks, if you want to call it whatever, is closing down after getting its funding going up to be what it is and then just not have any customers. However, this is actually a sneak to put some digs in at Candace Owens, who at this point I just can't defend. She's just a horrible person. We did not put the story up, but Candace Owens took some shots at Christina Applegate, one of my favorite people, who, after suffering from MS, just said some nasty things. But it all started off with a woman who was in a beauty pageant who was in a wheelchair, and she was talking about being Candace. Inclusivity has to have some sort of boundaries because I don't see a wheelchaired woman in a beauty contest, which had a lot of people with disabilities come out after Owens, which had, disability advocate Christina Applegate, who has her issues, come out after Owens, which had Owens come out after her, which had people saying, "Why are you messing with Christina Applegate? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Candace Owens?" So I'm asking now, what's wrong with you, Candace Owens? I used to have this sort of thing where we'd have some story about something crazy that Miss Owens would do, and I would say, I just really want to give her a hug and try to figure out what hurt her so bad. The problem is, we know what hurt her so bad, and we don't understand it because it doesn't make any sense. A person who takes a lot of claims and really took people to court for discrimination, doing a lot of racist discrimination. So at this point, I want Candace Owens to go away. I have done this in a while. Go away, Candace Owens. Go away. Go away, Candace Owens. Go away. Go away, Candace Owens. Go away, Candace Owens. Go away, Candace Owens. Go away. Thank you. Hopefully, I didn't lose too many subscribers with that little hit. Let's go to the next story. Parents of Michigan high school shooter Ethan Crumbley will go to trial, judge says. Now, this is a really big point of accountability for parents. Ethan Crumbley, who shot up a Michigan school a few years back, seems like it's been forever. This has been a while. Is having some serious issues with his parents. Ethan Crumbley himself, or had serious issues with his parents, and the judge Christopher Ray said that Jennifer and James Crumbley, the parents, in a three-judge panel, decided that the parents need some responsibility, need to take action, need to be accountable for what's happening here. Essentially, Ethan Crumbley had some mental issues, and so his parents bought him guns. Not exactly the more stable way to handle kids with issues. But this is what happened. So the parents were arrested pretty soon after this happened. They will be charged. They will have to go before a real judge and go before a real trial to see where their culpability ultimately lies in this crime. JoJo Siwa exposes company's response to her coming out as gay. The company is Nickelodeon, and she, of course, JoJo Siwa was a very popular kid star, actress, musician. My daughter loved the little JoJo Siwa, little dance back when she was like 3 years old. It was something that was big. And then she came out as gay and had pictures with her girlfriend and all this other stuff. And it was, pretty tame. It's other than I'm gay, I have a girlfriend, I like girls. But as a teenager, sparring on Nickelodeon shows didn't quite go so well, and so read the story on what they basically did. They basically just had kind of had a long series of kind of lectures, and then it stopped inviting her to things in the public because she may be not representing who we want to represent. Your mileage may vary on this one, but JoJo Siwa is basically coming out now, pun intended, about her coming out and the issues it caused her with her former employer. Not sure what she's doing these days, but she's, enough that people are still harping on this story. Prince Harry may have to pack his bags and move back home. That's in quotations. As U.S. urged to disclose visa. So Harry may have done some issues with immigration. Remember, Prince Harry is a citizen of the United Kingdom, even though he's married to a woman from the United States. So the Duke may have some issues with his visa that may have to be taken care of, and he may have to go back to England, where his family is not so happy with him. Although apparently he has an apartment somewhere in Buckingham Palace, I guess. Will this turn out to be a thing, or will they fix it? We don't know. This is not one of Biden's top priorities, but since you people like talking about Harry and Meghan, more Meghan than Harry, this is something that popped up on the radar, and yes, you guys responded to it when we put it out there. We will see what's going on, because right now, as we said, he's still beefing with his family. As far as we know, there's no an invite to the coronation for Harry and Meghan still. And, of course, the issue with them being kicked out of their home because they're not really royals anymore, going forward with that. Pardon me that. Apparently there's a big old text chat going on with my friends back in Geeson High School. So this may take a while because they get up early. Let's go to the next story, which is this one. I'm going to attempt to. Well, I'm not. That's too many buttons. Afroman sued by Adams County police officers who raided his home for invading his privacy. Let me read that a bit slower. Afroman sued by Adams County police officers who raided his home, pause, for invading their privacy. So what happened here? 7 police officers are suing the singer Afroman for invasion of privacy after they raided his home last year. Afroman, known for imbibing in various things, had his home raided. Yes, Mr. Joseph Edgar Foreman. Last year this happened when they thought there were drugs and weaponry in his property. Although the raid was unfounded, the rapper has since retaliated, and the retaliation is using the video footage of the raid, because everybody's got cameras everywhere these days, in a music video. There's the invasion of privacy part. We will see how this plays out and who wins who in this case. But remember, there's a camera on you everywhere. Something we said in the radio station and in the business of media. There's always a camera on someplace. You're wandering around a building with nothing but or microphones. Wandering around a building with nothing but microphones, and somebody's mic is on somewhere. So watch what you say, unless you know that mic is off. There are cameras everywhere, so watch what you do, even a lawful raid, when their camera's rolling. Let's go to the next one. Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul, Lil Yachty, other celebs hit with SEC charges for boosting crypto. The Securities and Exchange Commission charged Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul, Soulja Boy, and Kendra Lust, along with some other folks, about 10 people, I believe, in this full charge for pushing crypto and not disclosing that they were pushing crypto, because they were paid advertisers. They were paid sponsors, not just, hey, dude, I found this great crypto thing. Check it out. It's awesome. Because they're always getting paid. They're not winning the game by playing the crypto game. They're winning the game because somebody gave them some money to talk about it. That's why they're talking this one. Lindsay Lohan paid her fine and resolved to be better about this thing in the future. Others are still sort of fighting the thing. So remember, we're all still kind of mad at Matt Damon for running a commercial, the Super Bowl that's been running for 6 months, that says fortune favors the brave, even though crypto had been doing bad all along. And of course, Larry David in his crypto commercials, basically where he's, the opposite, where he's like, yeah, this thing won't work, because he's funny and the thing didn't work. Remember, these people, these famous people who are telling you stuff, are probably in on it. Let's go to number 9. 5 boys lost in Staten Island sewer system, called 911. Click on the link and listen to the phone call where some kids who were wandering through the sewers, and yes, we blame the Ninja Turtles on this, got lost. And it took them 30 minutes to find them, to get them out. They basically called 911, said, where are you? We don't know. We're lost. We're in the sewer. We're wandering around, to the point where they just kind of wanted to a point where they could be heard, and just started yelling and screaming so they can get them out there. Firefighter John Luckerharden assisted the boys out of the tube officially after they traveled about 1,500 feet into the sewage system. They were taken to the hospital with only minor knee injuries, basically scraped their knees. It's one of those things where we're glad the good thing happened. But remember, kids, wandering through sewers is only for animated figures and fake people, not for real people. Unless you're going to work in sanitation, but this is not a way to get hit on the job. And finally, Pat Sajak gets physical with contestant in wild Wheel of Fortune moment. Now, reading that headline makes you think, wow, something must have went off. Some guy must have just went nuts, and Pat Sajak had a body slam this guy to keep him from losing control. Actually, the opposite happened. A contestant named Fred Jackson, who lists himself as a professional wrestler, a bar trivia host, and a drama teacher, actually in the reverse order, won $75,800 on Wheel of Fortune on Tuesday. He swept all the competitions. He won every single competition, plus the big wheel spin at the end. And at the end, the celebration, Pat Sajak came up and just sort of put him in a weird full Nelson half chicken wing sort of thing going off the air. It was bizarre what happened, but he basically threatened to body slam him, threatened to put him in a headlock many times throughout the game as he was just killing his competition that day, but did it at the end just to be funny. And it was a very hilarious moment, but not quite the shocking moment that the headline gave us. Huffington Post apparently needed something to post that day, and I needed to fill the hole. You guys liked it. Let's go to our teaser story for today, this morning. This teaser story is one that we may talk about come Monday. It's Friday. We're not going to have a broadcast like this till Monday. So we have 3 days and 5 hours to get you to pick on things. We're going to pick from the top 30 stories of the weekend, 10 stories total. And if you think this is one that should go on that list, follow us on our feeds at Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/This Is the Conversation Project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Like, love, engage in stories. The more engagement it gets, better chance we have of talking about it come Monday. This one sounds pretty bad. Hershey looking to remove lead cadmium from chocolate CFO. We had this story before where Hershey said there is unsustainable amounts of lead, which is like any lead, in their chocolates and other things as well. Hershey is pledging again to get it out of its chocolate. How dangerous is it? Well, we can talk about that on Monday if you like to. Engage in the story, and we will see if this is a story we will pop into our 10 stories to talk about for the Monday. Now let's talk about our sponsors page. If you go to thisisaconversationproject.com/sponsors, you can see all of our main video sponsors or podcast sponsors, say, because they sponsor the podcast with the audio version as well. Today we're spotlighting Blinkist, and Blinkist is a great app that if you've not heard about it, if you've been listening to us for a while, you'll know you've heard about it. If you've not heard about it, this one may save some time and some money and maybe, a marriage, if you will. Blinkist is an app that allows you to read audiobooks or read books, either in audiobook form or an ebook form, that are really, really big. Full-size books that are unabridged audios, may be 12, 13, 14 hours, can be read in probably about 45 minutes. A 4-hour book can be read in about 15 minutes, and you can literally read it. The summaries called blinks are there to be read, or you can listen to them, or read and listen at the same time. And how this may save your marriage, not that our marriage is really bad, but my wife loves audiobooks and I love audiobooks, and what this does, it gives us a twofer. I have a subscription for Blinkist and I share it with her, and she can catch up on a lot of nonfiction books. Now, she's not a big fan of nonfiction books. She mostly listens to and reads actual novels of romance type stuff, but there are some things she gets interested in, and she gets a chance to get it on me. She can go through various different interesting books and autobiographies using the Blinkist app. So check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Thisistheconversationproject.com/Blinkist. One more time, This is a conversationproject.com/BLINKIST. Blinkist. This is an affiliate link, so as you click the link and you buy from our affiliates, we get a payment back from that, so we appreciate that, but let you know, Blinkist may be your next big thing. Let's go to the Conversation Project. Let's talk about it for a quick moment. This is our home, our website, our place where we live on the internet, where you can see the Conversation Project. You can see all the things we do, including all of our programs. There's this thing that's 5 days a week. There are the weekend shows. There are the newsletters. There are the special edition things where we try to pull out some of the lesser lost pieces of conversation in the news and give you bits and pieces so you know what's going on. You have a bigger detail of what's going on. Yes, I did some we took a day trip the other day, my wife and I, and so we spent a lot of time listening to the radio, and I listened to the news stations on the satellite radio and listening to how the formats go. And yes, the news formats are pretty repetitive because it's like regular radio. It's you play the hits. You never know who's coming in, who's coming out. And so if a person listens for extended periods of day, they hear the same things over and over again. Sometimes redone, sometimes not. This is another issue. We are not your main source of news. We call ourselves your news side piece, trying to be funny, but mostly to remind you that we interject other news stories that may not be the big love. We give you big love stories, but sometimes we give you JoJo Siwa having to fight the Nickelodeon people for being gay, and then Pat Sajak just fighting his audience, his members, because he's Pat Sajak. So we ask you to check it out. We also ask you if what we're giving to you is pretty good content, pretty good value. You think it's good, and others folks should share it. If you would help us out, we are trying to secure $200 of extra reoccurring income this month. We want to make sure by the end of the month, which is coming up very, very quickly, that we are getting $200 every month, or an additional $200 every month sustained going forward, because we have to hire some people. I want to hire some people. I need to hire some people to help out make this thing better. And we have some gear and some software we want to buy in the next upcoming months. So if that is something that you can go for, go to thisisaconversationproject.com/partnerships and see if there's a way we can partner up together. Now it's time for the fun stuff. Yay, fun stuff. We go to our today things you might have heard today, and we start off with birthdays on March 24th. And Jim Parsons, who, of course, in The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, and the voice of Sheldon in Sheldon, is 50 years old on the day. Allison Hannigan, another CBS alum, is 49 years old today, alum of How I Met Your Mother, and, of course, way back when we fell in love with her as, Buffy's best friend. Allison Hannigan turning 49 on the day, and Peyton Manning, the man, the myth, and the guy who says Omaha a lot, he's 47 years old today. He, of course, retired from football maybe 3 years ago, and I don't know how it's possible to live your super best life after you get out of what you're famous for, but Peyton Manning actually won a Super Bowl and then is doing nothing but commercials on potato chips, and he's living his best life. Peyton Manning, 47 years old today. If you're watching the video, you've noticed there's something different. We're going to talk about the celebration in a moment, but first, let's do the Today in History section. And in 1944, in an event later dramatized in the movie The Great Escape, 76 prisoners began breaking out of Stalag Luft III in World War II. This, of course, if you've seen The Great Escape, is one of the best movies of all time, where all the prisoners escaped from the Gulag, escaped from Stalag Luft, and then found themselves trapped, found themselves essentially all killed for the escape, except for the character played by Steve McQueen, who spent most of the time in the movie just throwing a baseball against the wall. First thing it happened when they captured him, they gave him his ball, they gave him his glove, and he started back to his tradition. In 1989, in Alaska's Prince William Sound, the Exxon Valdez spilled 240,000 barrels of petroleum after running aground. This was a big deal back in '89. I was in, ninth grade at the time, so this was a big deal way back when. I was still overseas in Germany, but this was pretty significant. It took months to clean up. There was all sorts of scandal, all sorts of reports about it, and it brought in a newer awareness of environmentalism to the United States. And now we say there's no climate change. It's weird. It's weird how it works out. And in 2002, at the Academy Awards, Halle Berry became the first black actress to win an Oscar in a leading role for her work in Monster Ball. Denzel Washington became the second black actor after Sidney Poitier to win the win in the best actor category for Training Day, the year they both won the Oscar. And of course, Halle Berry had made a significant reaction in the win for Michelle Yeoh, as she was one of the presenters for that award that happened this past year. So I think we're getting better. Let's move on to our spotlight, our celebration for March 24th. It is Cheesesteak Day. Go out there and have yourself a cheesesteak. Pretty simple. You can't mess this up. Today's a day, if you need something to celebrate, need to pick me up, go out there, have one for your boys, you know, drop a little cheese for the ones who aren't here, and then celebrate, enjoy your Cheesesteak Day. And finally, quick sip to clear the throat before we get to the coup d'etat, the masterpiece of this here podcast. One more thing you might not have heard for today. Who's more grumpy? Who's more of a grumpy pants in the morning? Men or women? If you answered men, you'd be wrong. Women, according to science, yes, that thing, wake up much grumpier than men. The reason? She's not getting enough sleep. There's your study, folks. Researchers from Duke found that women suffer more or less sleep. That was poorly written. I didn't do that. More depression, more anger, and more hostility. This probably should have been a comma. Women need 20 more minutes of sleep than men. Just 20 minutes. So are naps the answer? Yes. But they should either be 25 minutes or 90 minutes long. Any other link will make her feel worse after waking up. None of that made any sense. Here's what it means. Women need more sleep or they wake up grumpier. But they basically need more sleep. So to get that extra 20 minutes of sleep that you're not getting in your 8 hours overnight, taking a 25-minute or a 90-minute nap will help. But it must be about 25 minutes or 90 minutes. Anything in between is not going to help. Anything lower is not going to help. Anything over is basically just going to sleep again. Okay, that's going to merge your sleep cycles. Anyway, that's your thing for the day. I picked this one, and now I may regret it. Let's wrap things up for today. It's not Monday. No. I didn't change that slide out. So many changes are done. Today is Friday, March the 24th, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I want to thank you so much for being a part of the show today. We are so glad that you could hang out with us today. It's what we do. We try to provide you some liveliness, some good news, some not so great news that may be missed, and just get you into your start of your day. And of course, this thing lives on the internet all day long, all night long, so you can get what you need to out of it as it works for you. Remember, we are looking to secure more funds, $200 of sustained funds by the end of this month to keep doing some things here for the Conversation Project. And if you want to, if you feel like you have what it takes, if you feel like you have what you can give, that's great. You can also just go to our sponsors. Those are one-time hits that are great as well. And the most important thing is to make sure you're following us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Right now, stay hydrated, stay limber and on task for all the grand things that we expect you to do, because you're on the hook for it, believe it or not. We're going to do this thing again come Monday, and we'll give you 10 stories that day, 10 stories that you might have missed. Or maybe you're all on the stick and do that. And, of course, I want to remind everybody that Donald Trump duped us all, but the grand jury in his case will meet and talk about him come Monday. And so we'll do this whole indictment watch all over again next week. Thank you, folks. Let's get out of here. I will see you all bright and early, maybe not so bright, definitely very early, come Monday.